and welcome to Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari again urges ASUU to call off strike. Nigerian youths urged to speak for themselves through their votes in 2023 as International Youth Day is marked today. Russia molds buying foreign currencies to counteract sanctions. Details of these stories and more in a moment. First in our news tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari has again appealed to the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU to call off the ongoing strike and return to the classroom. President Buhari made the call in Maiduguri at the maiden special convocation and conferment of honorary degree of Doctor of Letters by the University of Maiduguri on the chairman, Oriental Energy Resources Limited, Muhammadu Indimi. The president, who was represented at the event by his chief of staff, Ibrahim Gambari, said negotiations had gone far and that it was counterproductive for ASUU to continue to strike under such condition. According to President Buhari, such prolonged interruption of education undermined the nation's development of human capital. Away from that, President Buhari has launched the National Crisis Management Doctrine aimed at bridging the gap created by the extensive deployment of security services through fostering collaboration among ministries, departments, and agencies (MDAs). Reports say the doctrine, which was developed by the Office of the National Security Advisor in coordination with relevant MDAs, would ensure greater success in tackling national crisis. Speaking at the launch, the president commended the efforts of the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Monguno, his staff, and members of the working group from various responder MDAs for the work done in developing the doctrine. President Buhari also thanked the British government for its collaboration in the development of the doctrine, as well as the United States government for its support, urging them to sustain the relationship. A statement by President Buhari's media aide Femi Adesina described the feat as a significant milestone in recognition of the need for collective efforts towards achieving coordinated, effective, and efficient national crisis management. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has acknowledged that recent security challenges facing the nation have overstretched the deployment of security agencies and resources. The president stated this during the launch of the National Crisis Management Doctrine in the Executive Council chambers of the Presidential Villa, Abuja. He noted that the evolving state of insecurity with the emergence of the Boko Haram terror group and other forms of criminal activities had worsened fears among Nigerians. The president, however, assured Nigerians that the newly launched doctrine will strengthen the nation's security. In the meantime, President Buhari says the success of indigenous businesses lends credence to the federal government's economic policies over the past 7 years. He also said the government remained ready, willing, and able to support Nigerian entrepreneurs whose investments aligned with the administration's import substitution and domestic job creation policies and programs. According to a statement signed by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, President Buhari stated this when he received the management of Boa Group at the State House led by the chairman Abdul Rabiu. He urged investors to take advantage of the government's focus on import substitution to encourage local production and export. Now, President Buhari has ruled out the use of military force in the rescue of the remaining 31 victims of the Abuja-Kaduna train abduction, saying it is not an option. It could be recalled that on March 28, armed men had blown up a train traveling between Abuja and Kaduna and opened fire, killing 8 people, wounding 26 and taking an unspecified number of passengers hostage. Dozens of hostages had already been freed following negotiations, but 31 remain in captivity. Meeting with representatives of victims of the Kaduna train abduction, President Buhari assured them that the federal government was doing everything within its powers to ensure their safe return. Away from that, federal government has observed that Nigeria's democracy is undergoing a youth revolution, with increasing number of young people engaging in dialogues about the future of the country. Minister of Youth and Sports Development Sunday Dare made the remark at the 2022 International Youth Day with the theme Positive Youth Engagement Towards Peaceful Election in Nigeria. Dare, who was represented by an assistant director in the ministry, Lami Bature, was speaking at a stakeholders forum organized by the African Youth Resource Center in Abuja. He said without the country recognizing youths as political actors, their trajectories in political participation would likely be ignored, wasted, and underutilized. Dare said there was an urgent need to fully assimilate young people's unique aptitudes, strengths, and perspectives into the broader development paradigm. He said the ministry, in collaboration with relevant stakeholders, was committed to promoting an enabling environment for youths to facilitate their participation in decision-making processes. The minister also reaffirmed his commitment to reinforcing the capacities of youth-led organizations and expanding opportunities for young people to aspire to leadership positions. Now, the federal government has inaugurated a presidential steering committee to review the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System (IPIS), the Treasury Single Account, and the Government Integrated Financial Management System over irregularities. This is as the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, was designated to chair the special committee during the inauguration. Pantami confirmed that the systems had technical challenges which needed to be corrected. He said the singular mandate of the committee was to proffer solutions to the possible leakages inherent in the systems that were being exploited by some people to divert public funds. In another development, the Nigeria Governors Forum has responded to the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, over the controversy trailing the payment of consultancy fees amounting to $418 million from the Paris Club refund. During a televised program, spokesperson of the forum, Abdulrazak Bello Bakindo, questioned why the AJF was so concerned about private claims to state funds. He argued that there was no component that compelled the Governors Forum to pay consultants anything, nor was there an agreement between the consultants and governors collectively. Bello Bakindo alleged that the Paris Fund money had been exhausted and that the consultants and Attorney General were expecting money to be deducted from states' accounts from sources over 52 or 58 months. He asked the Attorney General to be more concerned about how the government could fund university education rather than funnel money into private pockets. In order to overcome security challenges in the country, the Nigerian Army has trained 106 cadet officers of the 69 regular course of the Nigerian Defense Academy on mechanized operations in Bauchi State. Speaking during the closing ceremony of the training at Victor Kure Armored Range, the Commandant, Nigerian Defense Academy, Major General Ibrahim Yusuf, said the exercise was to tackle the insecurity challenges facing the country. According to him, the week-long training was to expose the officers to various mechanized operations in tackling security challenges. The commandant also stated that the exercise was a joint operation and collaboration between the Armored Corps, the Corps of Artillery, and the Special Operations Command of the Nigerian Air Force. Reports say the cadets would be graduating from the academy in October 2022 and that there are 7 female officers among them.
The need for enhanced and qualitative training in the Nigerian Army is more needed now than ever. This is as a result of the security challenges bedeviling our dear nation. It is therefore in this line with the Chief of Army Staff vision, which is to have a professional Nigerian Army ready to accomplish a assigned mission within a joint environment in defense of Nigeria.
I want to assure you that the brigade is well prepared to host the event, and the days you remain in the brigade, it will be a worthwhile for you.
The need for enhanced...
Now in politics, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has denied filing a suit against the People's Democratic Party, its presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, and Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal. Speaking at the commissioning of the House of Assembly quarters in Port Harcourt, Wike said he was focused on delivering the dividends of democracy to the people of Rivers State. The governor blamed the speculation on Atiku's group and said if he had any intentions of suing to court, he would have done that within 2 weeks. According to the Rivers State governor, rather than strategize on winning an election, the speculators are more intent on spoiling his name. Still in politics, presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Peter Obi, has said Nigeria must end petrol subsidy. He noted that going forward, Nigeria had to look for ways to move beyond oil to end oil subsidy. He lamented the staggering level of corruption in the country, noting that universities had remained closed for over 5 months, while the healthcare system remained comatose, with power generation and distribution also at an all-time low. Obi said he planned to create jobs and reduce insecurity and poverty if elected. Back here, Governor Udom Emmanuel has laid the foundation for the commencement of the construction of an ultra-modern general hospital in Ibionibom local government area shortly before turning the sod for the project. Governor Emmanuel said the commencement of the general hospital project was in fulfillment of the pledge he made to Ibionibom people during the 38th Triennial Convention of the Ibionibom Welfare and Development Union, that his administration will site a general hospital in the area within the shortest possible time. The governor, who was represented at the event by the State Commissioner for Health, Professor Augustine Umor, said the hospital will be fully equipped and completed within the lifespan of the present administration. He thanks the people of Ibionibom for their continued support and goodwill for his administration, pledging that under his administration the local government area will continue to enjoy an enviable status as a location to strategic projects like the state-of-the-art Dakota Skills Acquisition Center to be inaugurated in a few months' time. Earlier, indigents of Ibionibom across diverse segments of the population in their goodwill messages were full of appreciation to the Emmanuel-led administration for making good his promise to commence the General Hospital project. They pledged that the appreciation of the Ibionibom people will be demonstrated to the governor by supporting his completion agenda project. Still in Akwa Ibom, Governor Udom Emmanuel has congratulated the youths in the state on the occasion of the International Youth Day 2022 and also lauded young Master Vala Mbrinyang for achieving academic excellence of monumental proportions. In a statement issued by his Chief Press Secretary and Senior Special Assistant Media, Ekerete Udo, the governor lauded the youths for maintaining the peace, internalizing a new mindset predicated on the Dakada philosophy, and for showing love and fidelity to the larger Akwa Ibom causes. According to the governor, his administration will continue to invest in the youths through capacity building and other forms of empowerment aimed at aligning their energies to the possibilities and opportunities of the 21st century world based on ICT and other creative approaches. He therefore urged them to shun antisocial tendencies such as cultism and continue to embrace peace, which is a key driver in creating a world of opportunities for all ages. Governor Emmanuel congratulated Valor Inyang for scoring straight A's in 9 subjects, while equally recording a very high JAM score of 343. The governor enjoined others to emulate and be inspired by the educational achievements of the young genius, maintaining that his government will strive to leave a legacy of functional, quality and affordable educational opportunities for the children, with emphasis on technological and entrepreneurial skills development. Governor Emmanuel also congratulated Ephraim Jacob Yangudo, a physics teacher who was recently made a Fellow of Fulbright Teaching Excellent Achievement in the United States. In a related development, Nigerian youths have been urged to consider the 2023 general elections as an opportunity to collectively take their destinies in their hands, as the International Youth Day is celebrated today with the theme Intergenerational Solidarity, Creating a World for All Ages. The Chairman, National Youth Council of Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State Chapter, Barrister Theodore Williams, who gave the advice while interacting with Planet News, alleged that the government paid lip service to education and proved over time that it was not interested in youth growth and development, as evident in the lingering Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU strike. According to Barrister Williams, marking the International Youth Day every 12th of August has become an annual monumental ritual in Nigeria. Barrister Williams appealed to youths to speak for themselves in 2023 if they wished to have a future for themselves in Nigeria. International Youth Day is a day set aside by the United Nations every 12th day of August to celebrate youths and to mark the contribution of today's youth to the development of society. Away from that, the outgoing President Electoral Commissioner Mike Igini has tasked Akwa Ibom people on sustenance of the electoral institution. Speaking during his farewell speech at the sent forth party organized in his honor at the Ibom Hall grounds, Uyo, the resident electoral commissioner called on Akwa Ibom people to fight to sustain the electoral institution that INEC in Nigeria and Akwa Ibom State had set through his leadership and that of the INEC National Chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu. In their goodwill messages, the Okwu Ibom Ibibio Obong Tenyin Solomon Etok, who was represented by the paramount ruler Ibezigwa Sultan local government area, as well as architect Nyaitok, among others, described Igini as a man who has worked honestly to serve Akwa Ibom people and Nigeria. Correspondent reports that the high point of the event was the presentation of an award by Akwa Ibom Human Rights Initiative in recognition of Igini's role in deepening democracy, a farewell sung by staff of INEC, and cultural display.
It is there to say it is over and to bid all of you goodbye. And to thank you for making what later became a risky job, very challenging job, an illuminating experience. As custodians, the staff of INEC, or the vision and the mission of INEC, I provided leadership. But it is you, the staff of INEC, that delivered in 2019. I want to thank you. And an embrace of democracy is essentially because it brings about participation, probity, and accountability to the process of human development. That is why election must reflect the will of the people.
On behalf of the entire 31 local governments in Akwa Ibom, where we have traditional rulers, I stand and to greet you very thanks for your role you have played in Akwa Ibom, and we hope you will continue. In your next page, we wish we could have an opportunity to give you a hand, give you a vote, stand for you. If you can aspire a little bit more, we know that we've got someone that we can depend on. Thank you very much.
Public interest. A society of the strong is not only of the strong, it's not a viable society. As INEC innovates, this is the greatest promise of democracy. This is the greatest innovation we have done in INEC to assure all of you that we are building institutions. Mikey Guinea, chairman of INEC, all of us, we are in a journey of our life. Our journey will come to an end one day, but the journey of our Akwa Ibom is forever. What is most important to secure the future of our country is strong institutions. To ensure that you defend that process is intended to bring in people of integrity, people who have philosophical insight to what leadership and service is all about, to come for the service of the fatherland. As we prepare for the 2023 election, the people of Akwa Ibom State, Nigerians, you must stand up and not be overwhelmed by the forces that try to decay our democracy. The promise of integrity-driven electoral process to rekindle the hope of Nigeria. Today, once you come to the polling unit, you could be identified. And when the elections have been over, we can produce a new register immediately, irrespective of the total number of the people you have on the register. That is why it is unnecessary to think that you can sex up the register of data in INEC. It's not going to be helpful. We have come up with what we call the biometric authentication system, which is a higher form from what we had before. And so, the country, we are making progress. And clearly, the broad outline of the 21st century is clear. It offers opportunity for people, despite their differences, to work together, live together, and develop new ties that bind them together and give.
Still to come in the news. Ipman alleged police harassment to shut down oil depots in South and Southeast. Please stay with us.
A knowledge of global businesses, economic activities, a new wave of the stock market, forex market, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs creates new dynamics towards emerging market millionaires and billionaires. From the dot-com era to the oil booms, the fundamental news drives the market. This is Business 360, taking you to the business around the globe. Join us from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. weekdays, exclusive on Spectrum Television. Business 360, your prism to world businesses.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Many thanks for staying tuned. We'll move on now to Africa, where Senegalese President Macky Sall's coalition narrowly won last month's legislative election, but has kept its absolute majority in parliament thanks to a new alliance. This is according to final results. The Constitutional Council, Senegal's highest court, said the president's coalition, which includes his party Alliance for the Republic and other parties, won 82 seats of the National Assembly's 165. The figure was down from the 125 it won in 2017. However, Sall's camp got an absolute majority of 83 seats after joining forces with an opposition member of parliament, Papa Pep Diop, a former president of the Assembly and the Senate. Diop, whose coalition won one seat, told a press conference in Dakar that he had joined the coalition to ensure Senegal does not suffer a block on the functioning of its institutions. Diop warned that a National Assembly placed under the control of the opposition will inevitably lead to an institutional crisis. Still in Africa, more than 250 inmates out of 822 who escaped from a prison in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo have been captured by the security forces. Security officials presented 166 of the inmates in addition to the 86 other fugitives who were said to have been captured earlier with the help of the public. The armed forces are still hunting for the remaining inmates who had been detained at the Kakwanguru Central Prison in Butembo before it was stormed by armed men. Army spokesman Captain Anthony Walushai had told reporters that an estimated 80 attackers had overpowered the 15 police officers guarding the prison on Wednesday. The army blames an armed group with links to the Islamic State jihadist group for carrying out the attack, and the group has admitted it was behind the attack. Elsewhere, CEO of Kenya's Electoral Commission, Marjan Hussein Marjan, has refuted reports that the vote counting system had been hacked amid a tense wait for results of Tuesday's presidential election. Marjan said nothing of the sort had happened, describing the claims as misinformation. Social media has been awash with allegations that fake results have been uploaded as the count is verified. Media tallies show the two leading candidates, Raila Odinga and William Ruto, are neck and neck, but it is only the Electoral Commission that can declare the winner, and it has 7 days to do so. In a separate development, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has left Kigali, his last stop on a three-nation tour of Africa, where he articulated Washington's new strategy for engaging with sub-Saharan African nations as equal partners. During his visit, Blinken took part in several meetings with members of the Rwandan government, discussing issues such as democracy, human rights concerns, and the ongoing tensions between Rwanda and DR Congo. Blinken's trip to Africa's Great Lakes region came at a difficult time, with the Democratic Republic of Congo accusing Rwanda of backing the M23 rebels and Kigali accusing Kinshasa of collaborating with the FDLR rebels. According to reports, despite a meeting between Kagame and Tshisekedi in Angola last month, ties between the neighbors remain strained. Away from that, Germany has suspended most of its operations in Mali after the local military-led government denied flyover rights to a United Nations peacekeeping mission. A spokesman for the German Defense Ministry, Stefan Hebestreit, said at a regular news conference that the Malian government had once again refused to give flyover rights to a flight planned for today for the rotation of personnel. Hebestreit said in response, Germany had decided to suspend until further notice the operations of its reconnaissance forces and CH-53 transport flights. On the foreign scene, soldiers from the US, Indonesia and Australia today joined a live fire drill, part of annual joint combat exercises on Sumatra Island, amid growing Chinese maritime activity in the Indo-Pacific region. A total of more than 5,000 personnel from the US, Indonesia, Australia, Japan and Singapore are participating in the ZS Super Garuda Shield exercises, making them the largest since they began in 2009. The expanded drills are seen by China as a threat. Chinese state media have accused the US of building an Indo-Pacific alliance similar to NATO to limit China's growing military and diplomatic influence in the region. The United Kingdom, Canada, France, India, Malaysia, South Korea, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea and East Timor also sent observers to the exercises, which began early this month. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Commander Admiral John Aquilino said the 14 nations involved in the training were signaling their stronger ties as China grows increasingly assertive in claiming the entire South China Sea and holds exercises threatening self-ruled Taiwan. In the meantime, Russia's National Settlement Depository has filed a lawsuit at the European Court of Justice in Luxembourg to overturn European Union sanctions imposed on the country over its invasion of Ukraine. The EU added the depository, which Russia planned to use to service the country's Eurobonds, to its list of sanctioned entities in June. The Russian National Settlement Depository announced the suit in a statement today. In a related development, Russia has turned down a Swiss offer to represent Ukraine's interests in Moscow. Russia said it no longer considered Switzerland to be a neutral country on account of it imposing sanctions over the war in Ukraine. The rejection came a day after Bern and Kyiv agreed on a mandate for Switzerland to represent Ukrainian interests in Russia, which invaded its neighbor in late February. However, a Russian Foreign Ministry spokesman, Ivan Nechayev, said the plan was not acceptable in the current situation. Swiss media previously reported that the main objective of the proposal would be to allow Ukrainians living in Russia receive consular services from the Swiss embassy in Moscow. Meanwhile, Russia is considering buying the currencies of countries it deems friendly, such as China, India, and Turkey, to hold in its national wealth fund, having lost the ability to buy dollars or euros due to sanctions. The central bank said it was sticking to the policy of a free-floating ruble exchange rate, but highlighted that it was important to reinstate a budget rule which diverts excess oil revenues into the country's rainy day fund. In a report on its monetary policy for 2023 to 2025, the central bank said various options on how to return to the fiscal rule and replenish the fund were now being discussed, taking into account the Western sanctions against Russia over its actions in Ukraine. Still on the crisis in Ukraine, security agencies have issued a joint statement calling for the United Nations and the International Committee of the Red Cross to send representatives to locations where Russia is holding Ukrainian prisoners of war. The request follows earlier allegations by Ukraine that Russia's forces had tortured and executed prisoners, including by staging an explosion in a Ukrainian prisoner of war camp in Olenivka. Russia claims Ukraine shelled the facility, killing over 50 prisoners of war. 2 more ships today left from Ukraine's Black Sea ports, bringing the total number of ships to depart the country under a UN-brokered deal to 14. Turkey's defense ministry announced the development, which marks the first export of wheat. The ministry said the Belize-flagged Somovsky had left Ukraine's Chernomorsk port, carrying 3,050 tons of wheat to Turkey's northwestern Tekirdağ province. It added that a Marshall Island flag star Lara departed from Pivdeni and headed to Iran carrying 60,000 tons of corn. To more developments from the Russian invasion, the Czech Republic, which holds the rotating EU presidency, has said a blanket ban on visas for all Russian travelers could be the bloc's next sanction on Moscow. Czech Foreign Minister Jan Lipavsky said in a statement that he would propose the idea at an informal meeting of EU foreign ministers in Prague at the end of August. The EU has so far come up with 6 sanction packages against Russia. In an interview with journalists, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also called on the West to ban all Russian travelers, saying Russians should live in their own world until they changed their philosophy. Business news. Independent Petroleum Marketers Association IPMAN has said they will shut down all petroleum depots in Cross River and other southeast states over alleged incessant harassment of members by policemen. Chairman of the association in Cross River State, Robert Obi, who told this to journalists, said they will shut down operations in Calabar, Port Harcourt, Enugu depots and petrol stations. The southeast zone of IPMAN comprises Enugu, Aba, Rivers, Cross River and Benue states, with over 40 depots and 1,000 petrol stations, as well as 2,000 members. Obi alleged that they had further received threats from Police Legal Force Headquarters Abuja to foist factional leadership on the association and also arrest its executives across the zone. Still in business, data from the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries have shown that Nigeria's crude oil production plunged by 2.3 million barrels in July 2022 when compared to what the country produced in the preceding month of June. In its latest monthly oil market report for August 2022, OPEC stated that crude oil production figures based on direct communication indicated that Nigeria's output had dropped by an average of 74,000 barrels per day in July. By losing 2.3 million barrels in July this year, it means Nigeria's oil earnings fell by about 101.13 billion naira in the month under review. The federal government, operators and experts have consistently fingered crude oil theft in the Niger Delta as a major reason for Nigeria's poor output and its continued failure to meet the monthly oil production quota approved by OPEC. Now, Seplat Energy says it has not received any official notification from the federal government that reverses its proposed acquisition of the entire share capital of Mobile Producing Nigeria Limited. In a statement issued by its chief financial officer, Emeka Onwuka, the oil firm said it had become aware of news reports claiming that ministerial approval of the company's proposed acquisition of the entire share capital of Mobile Producing Nigeria Unlimited had been withdrawn. It added that Seplat Energy was seeking clarification from the relevant authorities. Recall that President Buhari had reversed his authorization of the acquisition of the entire share capital of MPNU by Seplat Energy Offshore. The move puts the presidency on the side of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, which had earlier declined the $1.3 billion transaction. So in business, the heir and de facto leader of the Samsung Group today received a presidential pardon, continuing South Korea's long tradition of freeing business leaders convicted of corruption on economic grounds. The Justice Minister Han Dong-hoon said the billionaire Lee Jae-yong, who was convicted of bribery and embezzlement in January last year, will be reinstated to give him a chance to contribute to overcoming the economic crisis of the country. Lee, who is reported to have a net worth of $7.9 billion, was released on parole in August 2021 after serving 18 months in jail, just over half of his original sentence. Today's pardon will allow him to fully return to work by lifting a post-prison employment restriction that had been set for 5 years. Elsewhere, Johnson & Johnson will stop making and selling its talc-based baby powder around the world from next year. The announcement comes more than 2 years after the healthcare giant ended sales of the product in the U.S. J&J faces tens of thousands of lawsuits from women who allege its talcum powder contained asbestos and caused them to develop ovarian cancer. However, the company reiterated its view that decades of independent... Still to come in the news. British novelist Salman Rushdie stabbed in the neck on stage. Do stay with us. For staying tuned. Now in health, Akwa Ibom is driving Nigeria's latest COVID-19 surge as the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) confirms 517 additional infections between August 6 and August 11. The NCDC, which made this known via its official website, said out of the 517 additional infections recorded, Akwa Ibom reported 293 cases, while Lagos State recorded 101. The NCDC said the 517 cases, which were recorded in 13 states and the Federal Capital Territory, had raised the total number of infections to 262,402. The agency, however, said 525 persons had been discharged in the last 5 days after recovering from the virus, bringing the total number of discharged persons to over 256,000. It added that the death toll from the COVID-19 disease in the country stayed at 3,147, with no additional deaths reported. So in health, the United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has issued an emergency use authorization for Jynneos vaccine to increase the existing monkeypox vaccine supply. The regulatory agency stated this in a statement made available on its official website. The FDA said the approved vaccine will enable healthcare providers use the intradermal injection and will increase the total number of doses available for use by up to 5-fold. It stated that the emergency use authorization allows for use of the vaccine in people who are 18 years and older, and in people seen to be at high risk of monkeypox infection. Jynneos vaccine was approved in 2019 for the prevention of smallpox and monkeypox disease in individuals 18 years of age and older, determined to be at high risk for smallpox or monkeypox infection. Elsewhere, the third of 3 people to have tested positive in Ghana for the Marburg disease has recovered. The country's health authority confirmed the development in a statement. The other 2 people, the husband and 14-month-old child of the now negative case, reportedly died earlier. In July, the country confirmed the outbreak of Marburg, a highly infectious disease in the same family as the virus that causes Ebola. One of the initial 2 cases was later shown not to have the virus. The Ghana Health Service said almost 200 contacts of the 3 infected people have been followed up, but none has any symptoms. It added in a statement that the outbreak will be declared over 42 days after the last negative test if there are no new cases, but the authorities will remain vigilant. Now in sports, Manchester City's Kevin De Bruyne and Real Madrid duo Karim Benzema and Thibaut Courtois have been shortlisted for the Men's UEFA Player of the Year award. The winner will be announced on August 25. The goalkeeper Courtois and Benzema won the Champions League with the striker named 2021-2022 UEFA Champions League Player of the Season. Courtois was Player of the Match in the Champions League final. Midfielder De Bruyne won the 2021-2022 Premier League Player of the Season. Still in sports, Rory McIlroy carded a level par opening round of 70 at the FedEx St. Jude Championship to seat 8 behind
Tiger shot 62.
Kim Shi-woo and JJ Spawn. McIlroy had an inconsistent day with 4 bogeys, including 2 in the first 6 holes and 4 birdies. England's Tyrrell Hatton is 3 shots back following a bogey-free opening round of 5 under in Memphis. South Korea's Kim landed an eagle on the final hole to go into the lead, alongside bogey-free American Spawn. Northern Ireland's McIlroy, who had earlier welcomed the decision to ban 3 players from the Saudi-backed Live Golf Series from competing in the playoffs following a court bid, struggled from the off and bogeyed the first. Away from that, Tyson Fury has reaffirmed his retirement from boxing in a statement on his social media account, saying bon voyage to the sport on his 34th birthday. Fury announced he was retiring from the sport after his win over Dillian Whyte to retain his WBC title at London's Wembley Stadium in April. However, in June, the Gypsy King announced he would 100% return to the ring, although he stressed big pockets would be required for a potential unification bout against Anthony Joshua or Alexander Usyk. Elsewhere, an ace defender of the Super Falcons, Lori Obunna, has signed a 1-year contract with the Turkish Women League champions ALG Spor Kulübü. Obunna, who announced this in a telephone interview with Newsman, said the contract signed would see her play the women's version of the Champions League with the club this season. The former Edo Queens player said the desire to play in the Champions League was what motivated her to sign for the Turkish champions. Now in entertainment, Katsina State Government has opened its portal for interested talented indigents to download and apply for the state's National Talent Hunt Challenge Season 2 competition. The chairman of the Kaduna State National Talent Hunt Challenge, Ahmad Mansour Kofi, who confirmed this in Katsina, said forms would be distributed across the local government areas in the state for those interested. He added that those interested could also download the application through the portal and apply for the talent competition. According to him, the competition aims to encourage innovation and develop youth's potential talent. He urged youths to take advantage of the opportunity by participating in the competition to add value to their lives, families, Katsina State and Nigeria, adding that 3 winners were expected to emerge from each of the 4 categories arranged for the competition and an overall winner. Still in entertainment, New York State Police have announced that British-American novelist Salman Rushdie has suffered an apparent stab wound to the neck. A statement which said he was flown by helicopter to a local hospital also confirmed that the attacker was in police custody. Rushdie, whose writing led to death threats from Iran in the 1980s, was attacked on the stage of the Chautauqua Institution, a charity and performance venue in New York State, where he was due to give a lecture. It would be recalled that a bounty of $3.6 million had been placed for Rushdie's killing in 2016. By then, Supreme Leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khomeini, and Iranian state-run media outlets over the publishing of his novel, The Satanic Verses. The book reportedly sparked outrage among some Muslims who considered its content blasphemous, and it was banned in some countries. While Iran's government has distanced itself from Khomeini's decree, Iranian hardliners said in 2016 that it was irrevocable and eternal after his death. In her reaction, New York Governor Kathy Hochul expressed her thoughts for the 75-year-old author and his loved ones and said She had directed police to assist with investigation into the stabbing. Away from that, the short list of UK cities that could host next year's Eurovision Song Contest have been revealed, with 7 locations in the running. Birmingham, Glasgow, Leeds, Liverpool, Manchester, Newcastle and Sheffield will vie to stage the event in May. 20 cities expressed an interest, and those not making the shortlist include London and Belfast. The UK was chosen to host the contest after organisers decided it could not be staged by Ukraine, the 2022 winners. UK singer Sam Ryder finished second at this year's contest in Turin, Italy. And finally, a group of Birmingham members of Parliament is calling for a band, Black Sabbath, to be honoured for their services to music. They have written to the Queen asking for her direct intervention. The parliamentarian said the band, formed in 1968 by guitarist Tony Iommi, drummer Bill Ward, bassist Geezer Butler and vocalist Ozzy Osbourne, seemed to have been overlooked by the usual process. The singer and lead guitarist made a surprise appearance together at the Commonwealth Games closing ceremony. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert. Do have a terrific weekend.